to teach today. A verse came over my mind, and it was Matthew 18:2-4. And Jesus called a little child unto him and set him in the midst of them, and said, Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as a little child, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever shall humble himself as this little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is have a child mindset. And whenever I was reading this verse, humble came to my mind, and so I was like, if you are a child, you have to be humble, right? And humble simply means having or showing a modest or low estimate of one's own importance. And as a child, you don't go on and you don't think that you're better than your mom and dad, and you can go over those rules. And I think we still have to be humble even in our old age. As it says in Matthew 23:12, and whoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted. Now, this verse was meant for hypocrites, but I think it also works with people who think they're better than everybody else. They start to think in their worship or in different bodies of Christ, oh, I'm going to shame this guy so I can exalt myself. But really, you're going to God gave you that gift. And you can't judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree. Because it won't do very well. Trust me. And you have to know that that person is doing great in their abilities. Also, another thing that came to mind is having faith. Children have lots of faith. And like it says in John 20:29, Jesus said unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen, and yet believe. Right there, whenever I was a child, my aunt came over and she told us a ghost story, and it was a very scary ghost story. It wasn't too scary, it wasn't anything, but I was scared for weeks. I would think a ghost were hiding under my bed, and I was like, ooh, it's so scary. But I think we should have a childlike mindset, and we should have faith. Not only could I not feel it, I couldn't hear it. But with God, you can hear God. You can hear Him speaking through you, and you can feel Him. Just like the wind blowing through the trees, you can feel Him inside of you. You know He's there. And so I think we have to have faith that God is real, and He had created the heavens and earth, as it says in Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. And we have to have faith that God can do also all things. In Matthew 19:26, but Jesus beheld them and said unto him, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. All things are possible. Whenever he's saying that, he's talking to his disciples. He's talking to Peter, one of the greatest disciples, I think. He's like, oh, cast your nets on the north side and you'll catch a whole boatload of fish. And they're like, I haven't caught a thing all day. And all of a sudden they pick that boatload of fish up and they're like, what happened? And Jesus simply says, with men, this is impossible. But with God, all things are possible. So you have to know that God can do all things. And that's what I wanted to tell you guys. And make sure you are humble and you have faith.
Amen.